Thank you for viewing Lena Reads. This is for the sign of Pisces in March. I'm starting with the Orishas Tarot. It's a little different than the regular tarot, but we're going to get through it. Let's see. All right, so we got the Four of Cups. That's what this one would be. This would be, I'm taking this to be the sign of Pisces. It's actually a fish on this card. And a message from Earth. Like the Page of Pentacles. Okay. And the Eight of Wands. Okay, so it's like Pisces may be trying to decode feelings or like analyzing how you feel about something and worried how someone else may respond to it or how poorly they may take the way you're feeling if you expressed it. With the Eight of Wands here. The Eight of Wands would be like fast communication. You might be thinking about telling somebody something that you know they're not going to take well. Let's clarify. Yes. You may have to end something, not cut it off, but like the news you may be trying to deliver or trying to figure out how to deliver, maybe news of cutting somebody off or news of them not being able to get something they want. Clarify the Four of Water. Water and earth. It's for their own good, I think. I think it's going to be for their own good. This might be a younger person, like a child or somebody that you're responsible for. Yeah, Queen of Swords in reverse. Okay. With the sun here, yeah, it looks like a family there. Could be an issue with the family. You may be enforcing something on a child. It needs to be delivered. The message needs to be delivered with love. I think that's what it's saying here. But it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of love in the way they're going to take it. So I feel like it's saying here that you may be too hard on them or something like that. Okay, let's keep going. Not that yeah, it's saying that you may be too hard on them, but in your eyes, you're just doing your job, right? You're doing what you're playing your role in their life. But you need to take a little bit more consideration into who they are, how they're taking it, and like what they're gonna get from it. And it looks like you are, in a way, but it doesn't soften the blow for you to change it up. It doesn't soften the blow for you to sugarcoat this. Okay, and the energies, you could be the one getting the message. Okay, and that's for somebody. For somebody else, it could be that you're being restricted. Somebody's imposing restrictions on you. I feel like if you're the one that someone's imposing restrictions on, it's going to be important for you to remember that they can only physically impose these restrictions, and they can't even really restrict you. Okay, now I hate to tell a child, to be saying this to a child, that they don't have to abide by the authority in the family or the legal hierarchy or whatever it is, but I am saying that once you gain the knowledge, right? Once you've lived enough to know that a restriction is something that's working against you, right? This is different than a parent and a child. Once you know enough to say without a doubt that a restriction does not work in your favor, then you need to understand, or you will understand, you will know, you will have learned, you will have lived enough to know that this restriction is only mental. It's only mental. Somebody is, what they call it, suppressing you. A good example is like systemic racism. You feel like you can't, but the only reason you feel like you can't is because you haven't been guided to the resources that make it possible for you. But what's happening here, what I'm seeing here on a bigger scale than family, is someone being limited, like your choices or the extent of your pay or the extent of your reward is being limited. But natural law says no limits can be imposed on you in this way. So what we're looking for here in this message is your way around this limitation or this restriction. I already know it, but I'm just going to pull the cards just to make sure that it fits what Pisces is. And I'm saying I already know it. I don't know what y'all's message is. I'm just saying I can feel it. I can feel it. And it's telling me, like, I think it was a Michael Jackson. I don't know if it's Michael Jackson or what, but it's like, you can't, I don't know. It's a song where about you can't go around it, or you can't go over it, or you can't go under it, something like that. Well, whatever this restriction is can only be imposed in the physical, and your ability to outsmart or um, what's the word, circumvent, or just get out of this predicament or this restriction is it's spiritual, it's mental, it's physical. Once you recognize it, and what do you call it, and give it some attention, like in CERN. I don't know how many of y'all know about it. I know everybody should, but they measure the activity of electrons, right? And what they found is that electrons have a specific path, but just because you can see it, something like that, just because you can see it, it can change paths. Your attention to that electron makes it act somehow differently. So that's what I'm getting at here. Is like just you recognizing that ain't nobody on earth got the power to restrict this, to impose this type of restriction on you, leads you to understanding that all you have to do is focus on what you're trying to overcome, and the obstacle will be removed, something like that. Okay, so I got the message from water, right? This is a flow. Water means it's a flow, but with it being the message for water, it's going to be the Page of Cups. It means that you are recognizing the flow, right? Once you recognize the flow, you'll need to get into the flow with the Two of Water here, or the Two of Cups. You'll have to participate with the flow, like you'll have to interact with the flow. What is the flow? Let's see. Okay, so interacting with the flow is going to be... Okay, so the message from water is going to be you recognizing where you need to put your attention in order to circumvent or overcome or just get past these restrictions, right? That's the recognition, the message from water. And it's in reverse. So I want to say you may see it, you may have thought about it. This is something that's probably been on your mind. With the Two of Cups here, the Two of Water, this is advising you or saying that you will start to communicate in the flow. You will start to receive communication through the flow. With the Nine of Swords here. I feel like that is the burden of possibly truth. Okay. And then the Seven of Wands. Let's see here. I'll look that one up. With the Seven of Fire, this is most likely saying that you take on, or that you have to take on, once you recognize that you have this option, you'll then start to overthink how things are. You'll start to overthink how you expect things to turn out, and it won't be good. You won't have a good outcome in your mind. Or not that you won't have a good outcome, because you're looking at overcoming, but you won't have a good expectation of the person who is restricting you, right? You know that this is a shot at them. So you learning, recognizing, and implementing this knowledge in the flow is it's an attack to them. They feel like you're being disobedient or combative. They know in their mind that you're going against the flow, and in your mind you feel like you're going against the flow, but the flow is not what you've been groomed to think it was. Like, they got you going with a whole different flow, but your real true flow does not allow for this obstacle that they're trying to impose on you. Let me look at this card right here. The Oshala. I like this deck, but you have to look a lot of them up, and it's not that organized. So give me a minute. Okay. Okay, I really want to look it up. It's just like this card is not even in the table of contents. So give me just a second here. Okay, look. You see how this card is, the word is on this card is Oshala. On here, it is. That's how they spell Oshala. Anyway, so what this card means is the most important, cherished, respected, and honored, the most beloved of all Orisha is our father Oshala or Otala. Otala. Okay. Okay. Hold on, let me find the main part here. Oh, wow. Okay. It says the meaning of the card is a kind father, positive parental archetypes, leadership position and authority, a fair judge or a magistrate, a gentle king or ruler, intelligence and wisdom, activities where reason is involved, mental clarity, divine protection, spiritual road, charitable and clear spirit, complete peace and happiness, a teacher, professor, and any other person who forges active minds, an enlightened teacher, a priest who fulfills his duties as such within the framework of truth and justice. Okay, so I'm not going to go no further. The Oshala here came out after, or it would have showed up. It would have showed up somewhere right around there. So this figure could be the figure imposing the restriction, or this figure could be you or your guidance, right? So it could be like a spiritual guidance or a spiritual guide, or okay. So the reason I'm saying, so there's a like a dove or a white bird in the top of this card, right? For people who read signs and stuff like that, birds are messengers, okay? And the message from water, it doesn't come from a person like that you would listen to, but this restriction comes from a person. So if the Oshala is a person for you, then the restriction is going to be imposed by something like religion, school, a school figure or authority figure. It even said like a father or a parent. Like I'm not trying to advise kids, because to be honest, there's a hierarchy, and you have your parents, are responsible for you. So you're supposed to stick to the program, and together y'all will be successful. But divided, everything is trash. So I'm not advising children unless as a child, even as a child, you're in a fucked up situation, and sometimes you don't. That makes this reading not so good, because it can apply to a child, but I'm taking this as someone who has reasonable life experience to make a judgment call that says, I don't like the way I'm being treated. I don't feel like this restriction or these restrictions should be imposed on me. Why can't I? There's no reason an adult should have to ask that, if they're doing something that's within their moral and legal rights, right? So I am saying that for Pisces right now, it looks like your mission right now is to know where you're headed and make moves in that directions in that direction. When you're making a decision, you need to consider the direction that you're trying to go in, and if anything is blocking that, you need to consider the flow, which is what you know mixed with the next level of what you know you can do or what you know you're worth. You're being asked to pray for some of you who are Christians and believe in God. You're being asked to be conscious of what you can do legally or what you can do mentally or physically. You're being asked to give yourself credit for all the good that you've done over the years and own all the bad shit that you've done over the years. You're being asked to consider all that. Do you deserve to move forward on this chessboard? And once you determine that you deserve to move forward on this chessboard, you'll see a strategy to get to where you're trying to go. Because chess is a complicated game, but you use strategy to circumvent your opponent or circumvent the game. You use the laws of the game to circumvent the game to win. Okay. So I want to call that the message, but I'm going to go ahead and pull from this deck because I wasn't sure what I was getting when I was trying to do a little meditation. So look at that. I almost don't want to say it. I'll just show it to you. Okay, this is the Archeo. What is it? The Archeo deck, right? That says demon, and then it's got this dragon looking demon here. So now we got to pull some more cards because I'm not really okay. So we got the demon and the warrior. Ooh. We got the demon, the warrior, and the midwife. Okay. So your mission right now is war, okay? Your mission is war. And it's not physical war, it's the spiritual battle that we all know we're a part of. Just sometimes we don't know our position in the army, right? But at this time, your position, Pisces, is to be a warrior. Because this restriction, for some people, this restriction goes back generations, right? It's been passed through your DNA to you. You just now found out it was a restriction because you've been living by it all this time. And your mama and your grandmama and your great grandma, you know what I'm saying? It's a generational restriction, or it's a generational restriction. Let's see what else. Okay, so with the Ten of Pentacles here, yeah, it's just saying that you'll whoever it is that brings this out to you, or whatever the person's position is that triggers you into feeling restricted, or triggers you into feeling like they've imposed this restriction on you, they're not even the problem. It's that you're gonna bring, when you fight this restriction, they're gonna realize you're gonna also be teaching them something. You're going to teach the person who's imposing the restriction, and they know it's not fair. They know it's not fair, but it is how it is with the King of Swords here. Okay, so I don't generally use this deck, but I pulled it out because I didn't know. I was like, shit, I don't know what Pisces is going through right now. So we got the totemic puma, and this is the Earth Warriors deck. You got warrior in 2 decks. You got divine protection here with the Oshala. You're leading an army that is protected. All you have to do is be in the flow. You have to recognize this lineage and ancestry with the midwife here. You have to recognize them. It's like everything that you can call in, right? Because if you don't know that you have this protection, if you don't know that you have this protection, then you might as well just whatever they tell you to do, just do it. Whatever they say you can't do, just don't do it. But once you have this message, and you realize that this is not a restriction, this is not a restriction for you, you can get around this shit. Once you realize that, and you start putting your plan in place, the first thing you need to do is pray. You need to call on your ancestors. You need to call on your ancestors. You need to call on God and the angels. You need to call on all your spiritual protection, because it is a spiritual battle, but it's for the Ten of Pentacles in the 3D, right? You really outgrow the person trying to impose these restrictions on you. And I'm saying, as a person, it could be an institution, it could be society, right? Totemic Fuma, Power Awakening. Look at that. I'm not even gonna look for the book to read it. Okay, that's the Pisces reading. Like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Love you. Bye.